It's a pleasure to be here. Well, let me say this. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's never a pleasure to be in Albany, because every time I drive past the state capitol, it reminds me of what a useless place that is. But thank God we have state representatives like Mary Beth Walsh in the State Assembly and George Borrella, who we just heard from the State Senate. Let's give them another round of applause. They are fighting the good fight. I want to thank the state chairman of this great party, Jerry Kassar, for inviting me here today. And my county chairs here, Danny Donovan, who does such a great job in Nassau County. And I have to tell you, you know, he's a chip off the old block because I knew his dad. His dad was a fighting Marine and did an amazing job in the Conservative Party. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Danny. Thank you so much for all you do. My neighbor, Mike Torres, chairman of the Suffolk County Party, who does such a great job there. Mike, there you are. Chairman Larigo, who I was just with in Erie County, and all of you who are here today to be the conscience of the Republican Party. Thank you for all you do. Because you know what? In the past, we've seen that sometimes some Republican elected officials get a little off the correct path, and you're the ones that bring us back to reality and remind us of the conservative values that we should be professing and acting upon, not only here in Albany, but on the local level and in Washington, D.C. So thank you for all you do. It's because of you that we actually have a chance to win elections here in New York State. So I became county executive, sworn in January 2022. The day after I was sworn in, I had to fulfill a promise that I made to moms in Nassau County. Throughout the campaign for county executive, and I was running against a popular incumbent Democrat. In Nassau County, we have 30,000 more registered Democrats than we do Republicans. But I made a promise to these moms. They came up to me during the campaign and they said, Mr. Blakeman, our kids are tired of wearing masks. Some of them can't talk, some of them can't express themselves. They're not learning properly. Will you promise to us that when you get elected, that you will say, we are taking the masks off children? So the day after I was inaugurated, I signed my first executive order, the first in the country, that said, we're taking the masks off kids. Let them get back to being able to socialize with their friends, to learn with their friends. I mean, it was just idiotic. You had to wear a mask in school if you were a kid, but if you went across the street to the pizza place, you could take it off. Just bizarre. And we said, no, we're sticking up for the moms in Nassau County. So I was very happy about that, but I wasn't done with my executive orders, to the chagrin of Kathy Hochul and Letitia James, who said that I wasn't following the science with the masks. Excuse me, I think we've been vindicated. I think after with Dr. Fauci and the fact that he admitted finally what we all knew, that he was making it up as he went along, the science was always on our side. But my second executive order was very simple. I said Nassau County is not a sanctuary county. We are not participating in any illegal migrant program. And believe me, I got a lot of pressure. We got calls from the Biden administration, calls from Governor Hochul's office, calls from Mayor Adams' office, saying to me, Nassau County needs to do their fair share. They need to take in migrants too. And I said, let me ask you something. You invited them. I didn't. I said to them very directly, it's like me inviting people to spend the weekend at my house and then telling my neighbor they have to take them. I said, we don't want a migrant program in Nassau County. We don't want to spend our money on people who've been here for 15 minutes who are here illegally. We want to spend our money on our taxpayers and on better schools, better hospitals, better infrastructure, and more cops on the street. And that's exactly what we did. And aren't we so happy? We're ecstatic. We're blessed. We're optimistic. Donald J. Trump is President of the United States. Come on. Aren't we all relieved? So the first thing I did last week, right after the inauguration, is I had my police commissioner and my sheriff reach out to ICE and say, we're on board. Whatever you guys need, we're there for you. And they were quick to respond because they were relieved. They could finally do their job to protect the borders of the United States. So I said, what do you want? And they said, A, we want your cooperation, and B, we want your help. What do you need? They said, we need 10 detectives that we need embedded in ICE. We'll swear them in as federal agents so nobody can say that they didn't have jurisdiction. I said, done, you got it. And then they said, we need jail cells to house some of the really bad people that we're going to pick up. I said, done, you got it. And then they said to me, yeah, but we understand your situation. You know, we won't be able to get the funding for this for maybe a couple of weeks or a month. So, you know, we understand you can't start. I said, what do you mean? I said, you started right away. Your credit's good in Nassau County. Donald J. Trump's credit's good in Nassau County. And we are cooperating with ICE right now. In the past 3 years, we hired 291 new police officers. When other communities were defunding their police, we're spending money on our police. We have an intelligence center and training facility in Nassau County that's second to none. And later this month, we're opening a training village, an actual village that law enforcement will train at, and it will be state-of-the-art. It'll be better than the Secret Service has, the FBI. Actually, they will come train with us. We have a bank. We have a school. We have houses of worship, a gas station, a train station. These are places where our police officers can professionally train. We want to make sure that we have the cutting-edge training so that our police officers have all the tools they need to get the job done. Because our #1 job as public officials is to have safe communities, and that starts with supporting our men and women in blue. The third thing I did upon being elected was my predecessor, a popular Democrat incumbent, she had a plan to raise taxes by $150 million. And I canceled that. I said, no, we're not raising taxes in Nassau County. We're going to raise up the economy. We're going to make sure that people have jobs and that we create economic vitality so we don't have to raise taxes. And that's exactly what we've done. With inflation over the last 3 years hitting 18%, over the last 3 years, my budgets have not increased taxes one nickel, and that's what we have to do to be good fiscal conservatives here in New York State. The people have had enough. And then I said, you know what, we're on a roll here in Nassau County. Let's really go for it. I had young girls coming up to me talking about the fact that they were spending so much time training to be good at their sports, that they felt that they were being marginalized. They felt unsafe. They felt that they were being put in a position where they would have to compete unfairly with biological males. So we became the first county in the United States that said, girls play with girls and boys play with boys. And of course, I love to tell President Trump this one. Of course, Letitia James sued me over that. So when I see President Trump, I said, you know, you and I have something in common. And he goes, what's that? And I said, Letitia James has sued both of us. And I don't want to tell you what he said after that, but the fact of the matter is I wear it as a badge of honor because these people are nuts, okay? Women have been fighting for equality in sports for years and years and years. There are federal laws that protect women, and here in New York State, they have a different view. They have this crazy idea that biological males should play with females. And you know what? It's just common sense. And it's science. You know, they only say follow the science when it's convenient for them. It's science. Men are bigger, they're stronger. And I said, these girls have to be protected. And you know what? We started a trend. We started a trend throughout the rest of the country. And then you saw that President Trump started speaking about it. Because you know what? These girls who practice so hard, they deserve the privacy of their own locker room. They deserve fair competition, and they deserve to be safe. And that's what we should focus on, common sense and not bending to the liberal, progressive, woke policies that come out of Albany and Washington, D.C. Now, why do I bring this all up? My topic today is how to win back the suburbs. Well, we did it on Long Island. We did it in Suffolk County, and we did it in Nassau County. And the reason why we did it is because of the things that I just spoke about. Common sense, fiscal conservatism, American values. Think about the attack on religion right now. Think about how religion has become unpopular in certain places, like the state capitol. Think about the foundation of this country. We were founded on religious freedom. And by the way, it was disgraceful that our state and New York City officials stood by while there was rampant anti-Semitism throughout this state. And you know what? Those same pro-Palestinian protesters, and they were professionals. We know that because we coordinate with NYPD, excuse me, FBI, Secret Service, CIA. We knew that they were paid professionals. And you know who they were funded by? The Communist Party. That's who they were funded by, and it's documented. And those same professional thugs came to Nassau County, to our Jewish communities, and they tried the same nonsense that they did in New York, but they got a different response. First of all, they met our 2,000-pound mounted police horses that they didn't like at all, our K-9 unit, our Bureau of Special Operations, that's our SWAT team, our Emergency Services unit, our aviation unit, our patrol units, our special investigations units, all there. And when they came, we had a simple message for them. You want to exercise your First Amendment rights? Fine. There's the sidewalk. If you step off that sidewalk, a police officer will politely ask you to get back on that sidewalk. And if you don't, you're going to be arrested in Nassau County. That's the way to treat these thugs. There's going to be no harassment of Jewish students, no violence against Jewish students, and you're not occupying any of our buildings. So, again, this is a message that can resonate everywhere, not just in the suburbs, in our rural areas, in our urban areas. But here's the point. I told President Trump's team when I met with them in Mar-a-Lago in June, I said to him, this race for presidency is going to be won or lost in the suburbs. And they said, really, why do you think so? I said, because I think that suburban voters want to vote for conservative values and principles. They just want to know that people are out there and care about them and care about their vote. The suburbs of Milwaukee, the suburbs of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Charlotte, Phoenix, Arizona, those were the communities that turned around this election in the swing states. Now, why am I talking about it here? Because I think we've got an excellent opportunity to take back this state. And I'm not saying that we don't have to do it in the rural areas. We do. We need a better voter turnout in the rural areas. And I'm not saying that we can't pick up urban voters. Look what President Trump did with African American and Hispanic American and Asian American voters. Record levels. So we have to get in those urban areas. But it's the suburbs where we can really generate a lot of votes. And all it takes is to be bold, to have leadership skills, to talk to people about values. Why did you move to the suburbs? Why did you move out of the urban areas? Why did you move from Syracuse out into the suburbs, or from Buffalo into the suburbs, or from Rochester into the suburbs, or from New York City into the suburbs? Why did you do that? You did it because you wanted a better way of life for your families. So why do you still vote like a progressive liberal Democrat when you come out to the suburbs and you want a better life? So I believe that if we increase voter turnout in the rural areas, if we have outreach in the urban areas, and we get those suburban voters back that used to be our voters, I think that we can have a Lee Zeldin elected this time. And by the way, what a magnificent job he did. He saved the United States Congress, and I think he's going to do an outstanding job. You can clap for Lee. I think he's going to do a great job with the EPA, and I'm so proud that Elise Stefanik is going to be leading the charge in the United Nations, talking about America first in the United Nations. So I would sum it up this way. Pew Research did a poll, and they looked into people who practice religion and brought their kids up with religion. And here's what they found. A family that has religion as part of their core values, their kids are more likely to stay out of trouble, they will be better students, and they'll be more prosperous. And in New York State, there is an attack on religion. These people want the state to control everything. They want the state to tell us how we should raise our children. And that's got to stop. And I know I'm preaching to the faithful here, but we need to multiply and go out and get our message to the people throughout the state and say to them, what kind of state do you want? Do you want a state of failure? Do you want a state where people get ahead, not based on merit, but by people who pick winners and losers? Do you want a state that throws money away? $4 billion over the last 2 years for illegal migrants when we need help with our hospitals, our infrastructure, our schools, and we need our taxes reduced? If we bring that message out, we can take this state back. They want to vote conservative. They really do. But we have our work cut out for us, and we can't take a defeatist attitude by saying, well, this is such a blue state. It's changing. Lee Zeldin proved that. Donald Trump proved that. Think about his vote total in 2020 and his vote total here in New York State this past election. We can do it, but we need to work really hard and be passionate, not because we're doing it for ourselves. I look around this room, everybody's doing pretty good. But what about our kids? What about our grandchildren? What about our grandchildren to come? If we're not willing to fight for them, what does it say about us? So I know I'm preaching to the faithful, but we have to go out and recruit more people like each and every one of you so that we can take back our state, just as Donald J. Trump took back this country. May God bless you all, and may God bless the United States.